Hello, and welcome to Two Crones and a Microphone. I am Linda.
I am Betty.
And I am Sally.
We are cultural midwives. Our podcast is about shared wisdom through storytelling and research from us as experienced crones and friends. Many ask how we know each other. We like to share that we first met decades ago studying with Oh Shinnah and through other teachers. We love doing these podcasts to share wisdom, and we're committed to mentoring not just each other, but you as well. And we love sharing stories with all of you. We're experienced crones and have been through the mill, as have many of you. We're here to share ways to help you navigate the muddy waters of our time, and as Oceana would say, to help you clear the roo.
So remember, we're partway through year number 3. And as part of year 3, we, as the crones in question, want to talk about finding joy and honoring ourselves. This is important because when we find our joy and fill our own cups, which is really important, staying replenished and refilled, we have more bandwidth to be of service in our communities. Today's podcast is the second part of our 2-part holiday series. And in our podcast number 44, you'll remember we used creating joyful, grateful bliss, weaving gratitude and community with Thanksgiving. And when we had our next podcast where we talked about giving back and supporting our community with Lupo Passero. And so today we want to talk about looking at how to approach the season deeply, finding light and gratitude in the season, being supportive to one another, anchoring ourselves during this seasonal time of renewal. No matter what holiday we choose to celebrate,
Hmm.
this time of the year is a time of renewal and refreshing, of going within, seeking, finding, and then almost being born, renewed, and refreshed in the new year. So we're calling it wrapping up the holidays with joy.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Well, as the holiday season approaches, it's also important to realize that we have to take care of ourselves. Self-care is so important. And it's so easy to go off and say, I got to get this done. I got to get that done. I got to clean the house. I got to buy the presents. I got to wrap the presents. I got to bake. I have to cook. You know what? You have to take some time for yourselves and realize that for some of us, it may not be this big, joyful
Hmm.
Hallmark celebration.
Hmm.
It can be lonely, isolating, stressful, even overwhelming with all the expectations we put on ourselves and on others. And that's important. Underline that,
Hmm.
and on others.
Hmm.
So, in podcast 44, we did give some tips to help you maintain your well being and enjoy the holidays. And today, we thought what we would do is reflect on the past year and some of our favorite memories and tips. Also, remember to go to twocronesandamicrophone.com, the website, for our in-person and online classes that will help you with this, for our tips that are on Instagram and Facebook, and now our YouTube site. We have a lot of different posts on there, and some of them have been my absolute favorites. And I would love to hear which ones you all enjoyed. Linda was saying we should bring up our favorite podcast of the year. And I was like, oh my God, I just love them all.
I
I was really
know.
happy.
Yeah.
But the ones that stand out to me happen to be the interview we did at the Betty Boop Cafe, because the woman who runs the cafe there, she is absolutely giving back to the community. Amy is a wonderful person. If you have not seen that podcast, please click on it and you'll see exactly what I mean. She is doing a wonderful job here in our community of Wayne County. And the other one, of course, was with Lupo Pacera, trying to help us understand exactly what happened in Asheville, North Carolina, and parts of Tennessee. And we did a follow-up on that. That was the last podcast that we dropped, was a follow-up to see exactly what's happening there now. Because you know what? The news being what it is, it's kind of dropped off. So this gives us the opportunity, you're getting all these envelopes now, right? Give to the Red Cross, give to this one, give to that one. I've got a whole ton of Army stuff, Army Museum, But for me, sending money to a place like North Carolina is so important. Those people are still suffering and suffering greatly. Now, that community has pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. They're not waiting for anybody to come and save them, but they need the help to be able to do that. And Lupo talks about that so beautifully. I highly encourage you to listen to that particular podcast. That was the last one we did, which would be what, 43?
40,
So
40, 45.
45.
Yes, 45.
Numbers were never my thing. So,
Yeah.
how I've often thought if I ever get tested for dementia, they're definitely going to diagnose me because you have to, count back by 3. I couldn't do that when I was a kid, so never mind.
Well,
Not my
and
thing.
I have to say too, that's an easy listen. It's engaging and it's short. It's 17 minutes. And so, yeah, I know some of us are stressed in the holidays and we think, well, I can't quite fit in that half hour. Listen to that because it's so heartfelt, so informative. And I personally also gave both to the Twin Star Rebuild and to the Appalachian Herbal Collective, which is really important to me as an herbalist, that the herbs are getting out there where on the ground, where people really need them to help cope with what's going on.
Yeah, and some of it, they can't get their medication.
I know.
They're up in the mountains. The roads are still like all messed up.
Yeah.
And so the herbs will help. Doesn't replace medication, but it does help.
Absolutely.
So it's a good thing to think about.
Well,
Absolutely
thanks,
think
Debbie.
about it. So
When I talk about my favorite podcast, I have a hard time talking about it too, because there's so many we did that are so useful. I love all the body-based practices, but I think my absolute favorite came in like end of November last year. So I'm sliding a little bit on the year technically, but it's glimmering. You know how I always say at the end, go find your glimmer. Glimmering is
Right.
so important. It's this really tiny quick, easy practice of glimmering is, I'm going to read it to you so I can use my good words from the last time. Micro moments in your day which help us feel joy, happiness, peace, or gratitude. And once you train your brain to be on the lookout for glimmers, it's the more these tiny moments begin to appear because all of a sudden light will come streaming through the trees and you'll be captured by it. Just like, wow, look at that. Oh, that's a glimmer. Thank you. And so it's so helpful to use your 5 senses. We just covered sight and then sound, hearing, maybe it's bird song or other nature songs, touch, tactile sense, touch something soft, touch something soothing to you, skin, touch your own hands and possibly taste chocolate. Chocolate is a wonderful way to ravish our taste buds, excuse me. Or for me, red raspberries, Betty, the muffins that you love so much. For me, smelling coffee in the morning is not taste, but smell. The smell of roses or the smell of rose sandalwood anointing oil. And you can practice this in little micro moments. I'm going to share a glimmer that happened with me just about a month ago. I was hearing what I thought was a bird chirping from right outside a window. It was in November, but it was temperate, so I had the window cracked open a couple inches. And so I wandered over and I thought, what's a bird doing on the ground? No, it wasn't a bird. It was a chipmunk making a bird sound like this. And so I started imitating back, just having a little conversation. Do you know we cheeped at each other for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes? It was so much fun. And to me, that still warms my heart. I feel like no matter what was really intended, we were communicating together. And to me, that's a wonderful example of a glimmer. The practice is about cultivating awe, AWE, in the moment. Okay.
I love it. I'm going to switch it up a little bit
Good.
because I don't know that I can find a favorite memory for this past year either for a podcast. What I will say in terms of favorite is the one that sticks in my mind, of course, is the very first one
Oh.
when I joined Two Crones and a Microphone. Didn't quite know what to expect. Didn't know what this podcast was going to turn into. Really didn't know what I had signed up for, but I knew that I was interested in jumping into trying to reach out to people and
Mm.
share things that I had learned from Oh Shinnah and be with these two wonderful women that I've known for all these many years. And
Mm.
being a bit awestruck by the wealth and depth of all of the teachings that the two of you had already posted
Oh.
and had up there for people to look at and questioning. I question myself a lot, by the way, for those of you who know me, what it is that I might be able to bring to the table. So I don't know that I would say it's my favorite podcast because there are pieces of podcasts that I've totally loved that I would
Oh, yeah.
consider to be favorites. But certainly the podcast that strikes out to me the most and calls to me for this year is my very first one, right, which we did in January. And so, I look back over the year and I think, how did that year go so fast?
Aw.
What
Yes.
is it that we've done in this past year and offered and brought forward, from glimmering to all of the other things that we talked about? And always one of my favorite teachings that I share is that mirror meditation
Oh,
that we did in that first podcast
yes.
about looking at self-acceptance and honoring ourselves and acknowledging and loving ourselves. And so that still and will always strike me as something that's so very important and fits with what we talked about wanting to do
Mhm.
today, which is really how we choose to care for ourselves during the holidays, whether it's for making sure we find those glimmers and remember them and bring them forward when we might be under so much stress, and also honor ourselves by every day making sure that we remind ourselves to love and appreciate ourselves. So
Yes.
that's kind of what I thought I would bring forward for this kind of reflective part of what we're doing today.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And
It
thank you for
is.
that reminder. It's been such a joy having you here with us. And it's all us now, the three of us. And I'm so pleased to be part of this lovely collective of wise souls who express and chat and share stories and laugh and all the good stuff here. Yeah.
We
I
are fortunate, very fortunate.
Yes, we are. And we're so happy to share our good fortune.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. You know, um, we had some offline commentary, because during the holidays, sometimes it's about family and other times it might be about intentional community, sisters of the heart or brothers of the heart, or, different, both family of the heart, let's say, instead of sister and brother, because, we all want to bring joy and gratitude about and to each other. And there is something special about being in community as a bit of an antidote to our singular internet-based isolation of today. And so I want to bring that up. And it's just so interesting because the internet offers us the possibility of community, but sometimes it doesn't offer the amazing depth that in-person community can bring. And so I just want to bring that up because I don't know if you have other thoughts to add. Sometimes the virtual world is a real blessing. I'll give an example. My daughter lives in Japan. She's half a world away. And so for us, being able to communicate with each other on a video chat app is really, really lovely. But I'm so looking forward to seeing her in a few days because she'll be here. So I can hardly wait for that in-person time.
And I agree. During the pandemic, and my husband was ill. He was developing dementia, so that made things even more difficult for me. But we instituted a phone call with some of our friends, some of our sisters, and that has been an absolute lifesaver for me. And I think for some of the other people on the call,
Yeah.
just having that touchstone, of being able to communicate. Back in the day, they didn't have this, and it really made, for me, it made a huge difference and continues to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yes, there is an isolation that occurs just being on the computer. I agree with that 100%. But in this day and age, when everybody lives so far away from each other, I mean, I'm way the heck up in the mountains, right? It's made a huge difference in my life, and I'm grateful for it. But I also try and remember that there are many people out there who are isolated. And so trying to bring them in makes a big difference to them. There's a commercial on TV now. I think it's advertising the Hallow app, where they have everybody coming into this house and bringing food, and it's festive and it's wonderful. And the young man there is looking out the window, and he sees his neighbor across the street who is by herself. And so they go over and they bring her in to their home. It was just lovely. And I remember thinking, wow, you know, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. So, since we were talking about the holiday, let's switch it up a little bit. And what is your favorite holiday memory? I'm going to go first since I brought it up.
Go
I
ahead.
didn't
Go
even get a
ahead.
chance to think about this. But for me, this little guy, look at him, isn't he cute?
He's adorable.
Would you believe he's about 75 years old?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
When I was a kid, little kid, I mean, I don't remember him never being around, although come to think of it, he's probably more like 71 or 72. When we moved to our house in Brooklyn, he used to sit on the mantelpiece. I don't know if it was a faux fireplace because I don't remember ever having a fire in there. But he used to sit there. I had a little light behind him. And for me, that symbolized the fact that Christmas was almost here because Santa was up and running.
Right.
And even today, it's my favorite Christmas decoration to put out because it really brings back a lot of those happy memories, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my happy memory, really. How about you, Sally? What about you? Do you have a happy memory?
I was thinking about this, and I'm going to change it up a little bit,
Yeah.
I think, because certainly when I was a kid, and then when I had my own children, piling into the car and driving around on Christmas and looking at Christmas lights was always a really fun thing to do. But decorating the Christmas tree, because we do put up a Christmas tree, and while I might celebrate the solstice also as an adult, I still, like the Christmas tree, is putting up all of the decorations as an adult, a few of which I brought from my childhood, but mostly my mother started the tradition of giving my children Christmas decorations every year that were theirs. So they'd unwrap and get this Christmas decoration, put it on the tree. So now, of course, because they're in their 20s, but not yet, well, they do have their own homes, but the Christmas decorations on the tree are all the way from when they were like 4 years old and making little clay ornaments in preschool to the decorations from my mom I continued that tradition of every year we'd go shopping and they'd pick out their favorite Christmas tree ornament that they would put on the tree. And I do admit, when they take all the Christmas decorations, I'm not sure how many will be left on the tree. Maybe that the tree will just have lights and 4 or 5 Christmas ornaments from when I was a kid, because all those decorations will go off the tree. So it's fun. I love looking at all the decorations on the tree and remembering the memories that come from each year. And I also have this tradition with friends that I've had in the past, where we would exchange ornaments, something small, when, you know, we were much younger and didn't have as much money. And so it might be a decoration that somebody made, or it might be a decoration from the Dollar Tree. But each of them is attached to a memory with a friend who gave it to me in a particular year. And so I like kind of, it has at this point in my life become sort of a tree of remembrance
That's
and
beautiful.
memory, and
That is,
reflecting back on
Yeah.
lovely people who are dear to me, the year that my kids might have gotten or made an ornament. And so I think actually that's a favorite memory for me.
Oh, I love that. I
me
love that it
too.
incorporates the tree too. You know.
Plus, we hide that pickle in the tree. You guys know that German tradition of hiding a
No,
pickle in the tree, and
no,
the person
I
who
have heard of it. Yeah.
finds the pickle gets a gift.
really?
Yeah.
Woo.
So when people come over to the house, if we, you know, play Where's the Pickle, and it's really well hidden, and you get to find the pickle. Kids used to love it when their friends would come over when they were younger, because they'd be walking around trying to find the pickle in the tree.
I
And then if they
love
found
it.
it, the person to find it would get a gift.
Oh, I
It's
love
Something
it.
nice.
small,
Yeah.
something small, right?
Thank
A
you
little
for
gift.
that. I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
I
my
still hide the pickle. I'm sorry, Linda. I still hide the pickle.
I may have to start this tradition. It's part of my heritage too. So that's so interesting. No, never played it though. I like it. Well, for me, it's not so much a Christmas tradition. In my extended family, on my mother's side, we had a tradition of making traditional French New Year's cakes. And they're not cakes, they're cookies. And they're waffle cookies, and they're called galette and gaufrette. And the galette and gaufrette had to be made in this special waffle iron that could only be used stovetop, and you could only make one cookie at a time. So my maternal grandmother always used to put us on rotation. So we'd maybe make 5 or 10 cookies, depending on how big or little we were. Then the next one would come up. There would be a cookie factory going on in her kitchen for hours at a time, because it took a while to make them. But the tradition is that if people come and visit on the New Year's Day, or the New Year's Eve, you'd always have this plate of cookies to offer them. And it was to offer sweetness for the new year. And so who doesn't want the sweetness of life? We all do, right? And so that's a tradition that both myself and my youngest brother, and I can't speak for my sister, I'm not sure, I'll check with her, but we both continue. And I upgraded. I found a Italian waffle iron that makes 2 cookies at a time. Woohoo. So, but it's a tradition I really appreciate, because it's simple ingredients. The thin ones are cinnamon sugar and butter and flour. That's just about it. A little vanilla. And then the thicker ones, the gaufrette, are anise or licorice based. And so they have this lovely fragrance to them, and they're good for the digestion too. So anyhow, that's one of my favorites, because it was kind of a cooperative venture. I'm from a large family. I'm the oldest of 5. And so there were plenty of let me, it's my turn going on there to make those cookies. It was fun.
And I love, you mentioned, Linda, that you still do it.
Yeah.
Still make those
Yes.
cookies. And
Yeah.
I think that's really important in terms of passing on tradition, and what we as
I do
Crones
too.
bring forward from the generations
Mhm.
before, because oftentimes, as we all know, and this is true for some of the parts of my family as well, the traditions get lost
Yeah.
because they don't get passed on
Yes.
all the reasons why they might not get passed on. That would
Sure.
be a whole nother podcast, wouldn't it?
Yes.
But I love that you still do it and that you're planning on doing it with your daughter when she
Yeah.
turns up.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
that is so important. I was thinking, Sally, when you were talking about decorating the Christmas tree, when my grandkids were small, they would come and help me decorate the tree.
Hmm.
And I think I mentioned before that my granddaughter, who is now 24, has been living with me while she's working at a local vet, waiting to get into school. And she loves decorating the Christmas tree with me. And she has one ornament. It's this puffy little train. She loves that ornament. She loved it from a little kid. And that is her. You can see how delighted she is to put that one on the tree because that's hers, you know? And
Yeah.
she has told me that when I cross, all the ornaments are going to her. Don't anybody
Oh,
ask for anything. She is taking them
nice.
all. Well, a
That's
lot of
great.
them are for when Larry and I traveled.
Ah,
I
even
bought
nice.
ornaments
Yes.
from all over the world. So yeah, it's really nice doing that to have those things. I did not come from a big family. So we kind of created our own little
Hmm.
things that we
Hmm.
did. But when I got married, I
Hmm.
started creating a lot of traditions for the grandkids.
Great.
So yeah, it is good. It is good.
Oh, that's so wonderful that she wants those and wants to
Oh
continue
yeah,
the
yeah,
tradition.
yeah.
That's really heartwarming. That's lovely.
I don't know if my sons want the ornaments, but they're going to get them at these are yours.
There we go.
These are yours, and you're going to
That's,
take them now.
that's right. That's right. I love it. Well, let's talk about our wisdom practice, because we wanted to give you a wisdom practice that would enable you to do a small sitting or meditation that would remind ourselves about bringing back the light, about the rebirth of the light, because at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, there we go, there's your candle. Thank you. At least here in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the winter solstice. It's the longest
Mhm.
night of the year, coming up very soon. And so it's an old story, and it keys into how sometimes we in our bodies want to feel like we want to retreat and be a little more contemplative. And I know that our holidays have us really pushing outward, but there's an important piece to be able to receive for ourselves as well. So our practice is just sit and either open or closed eyes, meditate. If you're able to, light a small candle, just a small one, and just softly gaze at the candle and imagine that that light is also streaming and burning inside of you as a being walking around here on the earth. And I know for me, it begins to refill my cup when I take even a minute or two to do that type of intentional practice. It brings me back into awareness of my body, my spirit, my mind, my emotions, and it's really lovely. So do it in a way that makes sense for you. And we want to leave you with something that Oh Shinnah said. Oh Shinnah always said, the only thing we have to give is the way we live our lives. The only thing we have to give is the way we live our lives. And for me, this intentional practice is one way for me to kind of reboot that awareness. We hope it'll be that for you too.
I love that, Linda. I know we talked as a part of what we wanted to do today was to share with you a song. And so we haven't really talked about the fact that Oh Shinnah was also a singer, and she was a professional singer.
Yes.
And there were some well, they were tapes at the time, tapes that she recorded, and she wrote much of her own music, which was native based, and also sang traditional songs that she taught us. But this particular one is about this time of year that Linda was talking about as we move into this time of reflection. And I always think about the bears when the bears disappear
Yeah.
from our yard. and I know they've gone into hibernation, that's a
Yeah.
clue for me to look within, to take the time to think and reflect. And it's also a time when I get very creative with making things, because that's that part of that. But and so there's a song that we are going to have posted to our website, cronsandamicrophone.com. But we wanted to say the words. So we're hoping you'll follow through and listen to Oh Shinnah sing this song that she wrote. So this is a copywritten song as part of her what's the word?
Estate.
Thank you. Part of her estate.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it. It is actually called Children of the Dawn. So the essence of life is light. In light we stand as one. As one we stand together. In light we last forever. We are the children of the dawn. The problem with man is that he has yet to live with the weeds. The wild ones he thinks are his enemies. The fact will still remain, in light, we are all the same. The I of me is you. In light, it's always true. We are the children of the dawn. As we love the land, we ask the same of you. The light of dawn will cross your face. Creation's song will comfort you as the children of the dawn.
The essence of life is light. In light we stand as one. As one we stand together. In light we last forever. We're the children of the dawn. The problem with man is that he has meant to live with the weeds. The wild ones he thinks are his enemies. The fact will still remain. In light, we're all the same. The eye of me is you. In light it's always true.
So we invite you to listen to her beautiful voice.
Mhm.
I can hear her singing it, Sally, as you're saying the words and how wonderful it was. So again, if you go to cronesandamicrophone.com, we intend to put the song up for you so you can listen to it. And I know that you will enjoy it and just get that beautiful energy that comes off of her voice and the intention that she has while singing this. It's absolutely stunning.
I had chills even as you were just reading the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Believe me, it's chill worthy to hear her sing it.
It is. It absolutely is. Yeah. It is. So I think we have to get ready to wrap this up. And I want to give thanks to Minerva Educational and Wellness Treatment Center on minervaed.com and Franny's Franny's Photography for sponsoring our podcast. This year, we have the theme of Restore and Replenish. And our podcast is dedicated to sharing techniques to aid you and to navigate the muddy waters of our time, giving you ways to be kind to yourself, and so important today, to others.
Thank you. And I want to remind you, remember, find your glimmer, as many as you can gather.
Yeah.
And remember to walk in beauty. Cherished, which means all is made beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
Hi, if you're enjoying Two Crones and a Microphone, please like this video and hit the subscribe button. Enjoy timeless wisdom from modern times, all served up by women in the know.